Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jason and you're watching Jason Jensen Trains. Today is part 3 of building Red Hook Wharf. In the first 2 episodes, we built the structure. In today's episode, we're going to be adding it to the layout. All right, like always, we have a lot to do, so let's get to it. So it may not look like it on camera, but there's an equal amount of space on both sides of this little island here, or pop out. You can see I have a concrete pier, and I'm undecided if I should do a wood pier on the end, just like it shows in the kit. And then my plan was to do a car ferry right here, so that road would come down and cars would get on and off right here. Now I've had this sitting here for a day and I don't like it. It's so disappointing because when you walk into the layout here, you're just not really able to walk around and look at the layout and enjoy it because this is in the way. I just don't like it. So we need to find a new location for Red Hook Wharf. So here is the new plan for Red Hook Wharf. I think it fits so much better over here. I'm really excited about this. So let me take the camera off and give you a closer look and talk about the plan for this side of the layout. So I have a lot of plans for this area. You'll notice these black posts. There will be an overhead crane that goes right through here. Now all of this gets covered in concrete, which we're going to make out of thin styrofoam. And you can see I sort of have the lines where it's going to go. And then the road will be blacktop. Now on this end, we have to build a wood pier. Now it's going to be a double deck wood pier. So in the decking up here, I'll cut out a rectangle right here, or maybe out here in the corner. And then there'll be a staircase that goes down to the lower deck. And then over here we'll have a large crane. And then underneath here we can put crates and fishing net, buoys, just fill it up with a bunch of stuff underneath there. So I think that'll be a neat feature to have a double deck pier there. And then of course we have a double track bridge right here. Then we basically have to build a shelf right across there that goes all the way back to the wall. And then that'll all get covered with structures. And of course the track will be up on there. So we cut all of these 2 inches wide. Now we're going to cut them into thin strips, and we want them to be the height of this, from the bottom of the ties to the top of the rail. We'll take a test piece and run it through. slightly too high. Darn it. We're getting closer. Perfect, perfect. Okay, now we can run our pieces through. So we simply just want to hold down on the fence just to make sure it doesn't move. And then what we're going to do is cut these into 2-inch squares. So all we have to do is make cuts this way. They're 2 inches apart. And we need a lot of squares to cover that entire area. So here's the styrofoam all in place. Now it's not glued down, it's just sitting there. There's a few things, actually quite a few things that we have to do first before we can glue this down. We have to get our track put down exactly where we want it so that the styrofoam can go right up against the rail. We have to put in trim, a concrete trim that runs along here. And then there's so much more to do. We have to build wood pier with the set of stairs going down. I think I'm going to do a wood pier that comes out right here. So the track will end like that. And then this will be a wood pier with pilings underneath it. Then we'll have our bridge. There'll probably be a little wood pier back here. So this pink styrofoam continues all back here. So it'll be underneath that, which will raise that up a little bit. And then we have to put in a shelf that goes from the edge here all the way back to the wall. And then our track will get put on there. Probably the first thing we have to do is move this, and we have to cover this with styrofoam so that it matches this right here. So moving Red Hook Wharf to this location has put me behind schedule in finishing it, because now we really have to do things in order before I get this put in place. So actually the smartest thing to do would be to take a bunch of flex track, paint it and weather it, and get it all glued down on the lower level on this entire section. And before we can get track glued down, we need to finish painting and weathering our bridge and get that glued in place. Then we can run the track over the top of it. So let's head over to the workbench quick and finish up this bridge. Okay, so we're going to do one side at a time. First, we're going to spray this side of it with heavy chipping effects. Now, I'm using my airbrush, but if you don't have an airbrush, you can just brush this on with using a paintbrush. Now we're going to take clean water and run it through the airbrush. Now we're just going to run air through it, and we're just going to dry our bridge. Now we're using green, blue, and stone gray. So I'm just going to pour them in and mix it right in the cup. And I did shake these. Now I'll just stir this with a toothpick. And I may put a drop of thinner. Just a small drop. Now we're just brushing water over the whole thing. I probably could have used a spray bottle and just sprayed this, but that's all right. We're just brushing water on every surface that got sprayed with the blue. Now we can go in and start to brush away that blue. I'll show you in a second. It's just amazing. I love this. Now you can go in with a smaller brush too, and that way you can be a little more selective. All right, we don't want our other side to dry too much. If it starts to dry too much on you, you can pick at it with the toothpick, lightly scratch over the areas that you want chipping to occur, and then brush over it. You'll notice after a while it dries too much and there's no more chipping. Now what we're going to do too, after this is all done, after the other side is done too, we'll take dark rust and sponge on some of the edges. And then of course we'll take some medium rust pigment and brush that on too when we're all done. Alright, I'm going to quick soak up some of this water, and then we'll do the other side. Now the great thing about having two airbrushes is you can see I have plenty of paint still left in this one that'll do the other side. So I'll just put that on the rack and get my chipping fluid and use this one. Okay, now we'll take our water and brush it on. Now, very important. The next step is very important. We must clean both airbrushes really well. It doesn't take long. Okay, all clean. Now we'll put these away and add some chips or rust with our dark rust. Let me grab a sponge. Okay, I just brushed on some pigments just a little bit towards the bottom. All right, now we can go put this in place. Okay, let's get the side of this pier covered in styrofoam. Well, another episode that did not go as planned, but we got a lot done. Thank you all so much for watching, and a big thank you to all of my supporters. If you'd like to become a supporter of the channel, please visit me over at Patreon at Jason Jensen Trains, and I'll put a link in the description below. And the third tier level, I offer behind the scene photos, so you are constantly getting up-to-date photos of what I'm working on. So consider becoming a Patreon. All right, well, again, thank you all so much. I truly appreciate it. And I apologize that we did not finish Red Hook Wharf in this episode. But as I mentioned, putting it in this location, there's some things that we need to do first before we can finish this. So, as always, you know, the journey is so much fun, and I enjoy sharing it with all of you. So, until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.